This is the Brandy Johnson, the connector, and welcome to the For the Love of Queens group. Shadow God, let them know what we about.
And the kings too. Can't forget about you. For the love of the queen. Take a step back, then clap. You posted up, we gon' fact check. Matter of fact, scratch.
Hey, y'all, the Brandy Johnson, also known as the Connector here, bringing you guys Woke Wednesday Live. Of course, this is pre-recorded because I got things I'm focusing on right now, but I don't want to leave y'all hanging. So, welcome today, my sister queen, Shameka, Lady Queen I Am Willis. She is the founder of the Queens in Action Facebook group, as well as the founder of the YouTube channel, Motivational Purpose. All that information to get in contact with her and follow her and everything will be provided at the end of the show today. But a little bit further of an introduction of myself, I am the Brandy Johnson, the connector. I am an empowerment mindset coach, a motivator, an author, and an entrepreneur. And today we are going to be talking about the selfless, selfish balance, which is important, especially when you decide to basically leave all reason to the side, according to, the average individual that says, following your dreams isn't reasonable if you don't do it a certain way. And there probably is a good way to do it or not, but some people just pull the plug and jump right in, and some people kind of tiptoe until they get to a point they feel comfortable transitioning. Neither way is completely correct. It just depends on each one of us. So, Lady Queen I Am, why don't you say what's up and hello, how you doing?
Hello, queens, and even brother kings that jump on. Thank you so much, Brandy, for having me on the FLQ group today.
Absolutely. So it's been a little while since we've had a little conversation, and this week is a women's topic. Of course, we could probably talk about this topic from the man's perspective, but maybe we let the husbands jump on here sometime and talk about it from their perspective. But today we're talking about it from the perspective of mothers and wives, because Shameka is married with children. I'm just married, thinking about children. Maybe. I'm kidding. I'm gonna have me some Rugrats eventually. But
I thought there was a surprise after this. That's how I paused. I thought that was that pause that right before you say something. So I thought that's what I thought was going on here.
I was like, "Are trying to make me pregnant with her mind?" So the selfless, selfish balance. First, we're going to start off with the definitions of selfless versus selfish. So we kind of get a foundation of what we're working with today, all right?
Definitely.
So I, of course, provide the source that I grabbed these definitions from in case you want to look them up yourself and provide your own definition and interpretation of what we're going over today. So selfless means you're concerned more with the needs and wishes of others than one's own. Unselfish. So we all, for the most part, have been there, being selfless. Mm-hmm. And then you have the other side of the coin, selfish, of a person, action, or motive, lacking consideration for others, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. And that one can be taken out of context. If you look at it, just go off of verbatim what I just said. You kind of got to see where like the gray areas are as far as that goes. So what are some things that you've experienced being too selfless, sis?
Well, honestly, a lot of times because I was more that selfless person, because I grew up trying to stay in the background, so I always tried to help, support people or help people be great in whatever it is they were going to be great in. And so I found that a lot of times being that type of person, when people see that attribute in you, they take advantage of you. They take advantage of your goodness, of you being selfless, of you being that person that wants to push people to greatness. So that is actually one of the things I felt in as far as selfless, that basically you have to be very, very careful, because you'll find those people that's definitely not only that lion mentality, but ready to attack it and will drag you along sometimes in it. So, that's one of the things I've noticed through that.
That's very, very true, sis, because I myself have had to experience that. I didn't understand that sometimes you got to mind who you help and what you do for people, because if you are somebody it's hard for you to say no. This is what we mean by being too selfless can lead to depletion. Because if you don't say no, you're taking people to appointments, you're running people to the store, you're doing this, you're lending people money, you're doing that. And you come to a point that you run yourself ragged, and maybe you run into a financial snag, but you've given and given and given, but the same people you've been helping don't want to help you. Either they can't or they won't.
Yeah.
And you gotta understand that when you have a family, when you're married, when you have children, that affects them. So you need to make sure you don't allow people to run you ragged to the point of depletion. And this is where we come back to side of selfish, because there is a such thing as being too selfish. I'm sure we've all known people that are too selfish. But my sister Queen and I, I don't think we know how to be too selfish. But if you end up on that wrong side of the coin, so to speak, being too selfish, you may very well find yourself alone. So, have you ever experienced or know somebody who has ended up basically nobody wanted to deal with them because of this?
No, I thank God I haven't really ran into someone, that didn't basically no one wanted to deal with them because of that. But I will say this, at a point, especially when I first began, now that I look at it, and now like even sitting here while you were talking, that's what I was thinking about. You know, in the beginning, when I first started, when I first began everything, my I noticed that my motives, now I can see that my motives necessarily weren't selfless like they should be, as far as our gift. We use our gift to bring value to other people, to help other people out. But when I first began, my motives were more like, what, I'm gonna, start this business and I'm gonna make this money. Like it was more of a selfish type mentality. I would have still gave, my shirt to anyone. I would have still helped them out, as far as much as I could. But my motives behind it, and I believe selfish, you have to ask yourself, because sometimes we'll say, well, I'm never selfish, or I've never been selfish. We have to ask ourselves sometimes, what are our motives behind it? Because even being too, whether you're too selfish or you're too selfless, even selfless, you could become somebody's crutch and actually end up hurting them in the long run. So you could be selfish and hurt someone because you end up stepping and stomping on them, or being too selfless where you become their crutch and you end up being a hindrance to them. So I just, like, sitting here when you were talking, I was like, you know what? Because I was like, man, have I ever been really, really selfish, as far as my gift goes and what I'm doing? Can I look back at something? Because I always try to learn, from everything, whether it be like our conversations that we have, or just, watching cartoons with my kids, or even just sitting outside, like trying to learn something in whatever atmosphere I'm in. And so that's what I started to think about. I was like, you know what? I guess in the beginning I was, pretty selfish because my motives were wrong. Even though I wanted to help people, my focus was on something completely different, than what it is now. Now definitely I want to, bring value to people, and I do it for the right reasons. And I can consciously say that, because I think I was doing it subconsciously, not really realizing that's exactly what that was.
And that's very interesting, because it came a time that I had to realize that in order to be my best self, in order to be um, able to balance everything, I had to find time to take care of myself while also balancing the time necessary to make sure my husband's all right, dinner's on the table, clothes, all that stuff. All the home stuff, plus the business stuff, plus the writing and doing these videos and things like that, as well as building our team, because it's very important to me. One, everybody already knows that I love helping my brother kings and sister queens that come from the rougher areas of town that just need somebody to see them and know that they are capable. Now, I know we can't help everybody, but I'm looking for those few people that just need somebody to pour the knowledge and wisdom into them to help lead them in the right direction. Pair that with, it's become extremely important to me to bring as many of our sister queens home to be able to be that number one for their children and everything, because I feel that's where society is going a little bit sideways, is that the kids are being raised by people other than their own parents. And most men can't come and work from home. But at one point in time, we all remember it was the man's job to go out and make the money, and it was the woman's job to keep the home, to prep the children, to make sure their activities and everything were taken care of. But now we do that plus entrepreneurship from the home. So we can still generate the same kind of income that we do when we're out there. We still got to depend on him for like healthcare and everything, unless you're generating the kind of money together to get your own healthcare as a family. But that balance is hard to strike unless you understand that you need to find it, right?
Right.
So if you
And look, like you actually just,
your head cut off.
yeah. Hey, look, you actually just opened my eyes to something. I was like, man, I was a little more selfish than I thought. I thought, I try to be transparent anytime I talk, but I realized, especially when I first started in my gift, um, that's where things started to get rough, even in my marriage, even with my kids, because of the fact is I was diving so much into this, and I'm thinking, I'm being selfless because look, I'm trying to help people, but yet my home was lacking as far as even the time spending the relationship. So that was selfish on my part, as far as, and my husband even saying, okay, you know what? Because a lot of times, and I know a lot of people can attest to this, where they'll be working and time is like flying by, and you realize how much you're not putting into the relationship with your significant other or even with your children. And so, like you said, a lot of times other things are raising our kids, like YouTube is raising them, Roadblocks is raising them, like all these other things are raising them. Because I even saw with my children, like they were so stuck to this laptop and so stuck to the phone, like they're trying to do, even though I was calling myself doing it for business, reasons, they were doing it because they were finding, different things to do, to where I had to say, you know what, I'm going to do this for this amount of time, or I'm going to get these 4 things done, and then go back to talking more with my husband, or even, dealing more with my kids, bringing them outside, playing. So I was like, man, I was a little more selfish than I thought, because even with you talking, it made me realize that sometimes we don't even know that we're being, selfish. And then sometimes you do have to say, you know what, I have to set aside this time, and say, listen, normally I'm on here, at this time or whatever it might be, but now I have to pull back for a second and regroup. Maybe it was even in what I was trying to learn. I got to pull back a little bit, regroup, and deal with kids or with husband, or even with, I got to replenish, like you said, replenish exactly what I've been putting out, because now I feel weak. I feel vulnerable. I feel like depressed, really, because that's how it feels a lot of times, but realizing that there definitely has to be some type of balance in selfish and selfless.
Absolutely. And that's actually part of the reason why I backed off. Like, I'm not focusing on making sure that Woke Wednesday Live is live at the moment, because I understand that one, the people that tune in to this little show of mine, they understand the that there's stuff going on in the background that is to the benefit of the many over time. But on top of that, part of it was to reacclimate myself in a way that would allow me to spend better quality time with my husband. Because oftentimes when I'm on here doing these videos and doing Real Talk Thursday, which I'm actually going to let go for a while. I may come back and restructure that later on, but this is the main focus. Woke Wednesday Live is going to be the main focus, because this is where my sister queens and my brother kings and I convene and have our interviews and share our knowledge and wisdom, while also encouraging those that are just getting started, or even those that are a little bit further ahead of us. Even they need reminders that we appreciate them, we see them, we love them too. And that's very, very important to remember. Just because somebody is ahead of you doesn't mean they don't need that little bit of motivation, and to be reminded, like, we appreciate you, keep going. But when I thought about it and realized that, like, by pre-recording, I allow myself to be free for at least 2 or 3 full days out of the week. That when he gets home, we can sit down and talk after he gets home, and have a nice, calm evening, and eat and watch a show or something like that, or even read or something. I realize when we get a chance to do that, it builds the strength of our relationship, but it also I don't know, the nonverbal communication becomes stronger when I actually focus on that level of things, right? And when you realize how in tune you are with your significant other, things begin to accelerate as far as what it is you're trying to build. Like you've seen our team come together recently, and
Mhm.
our business team came together recently, right? And
Right.
it happened once I started basically I've stopped Facebook diving as much per se. And I actually stay off or limit my use of Facebook Friday through Sunday now. That's my reset time. That's my reflect time. That's my quality time with my husband. That's my time with my family once this quarantine stuff is over. That's my time following up with you guys and making sure everybody is straight on our team and making sure everybody is training, make sure everybody knows what's going on. That is more important than being busy every single day, right? Because we need
Yeah.
time with others, with our children, with our family, with our business partners and things. So that might be selfish to some people, like disconnecting for a few days or limiting access like that. But that's what I mean by selfish. I don't mean basically take, and to hell with everybody else. I don't even like to be that way, honestly.
Yeah.
Um,
And even though what you're saying, because I was like, man, it's okay to be selfish sometimes. Because even with the even the examples you were getting, that's just setting boundaries, to be honest. And that's the problem. People don't understand boundaries nowadays, or even how to set boundaries. Because I had that difficult issue, because I wanted, not only I wanted everyone to like me, I wanted to for them to be like, man, she's awesome, and it to make, I guess, to even make me feel better. Like, I had to get to a point where I had to pull back and say, you know what, Shameka, like,
you
you
stop
just have to love you. Say that again.
you stop needing that validation.
Yeah, exactly. I stopped needing, but that's when I begin to realize, you know what? Like, I have to seriously set up boundaries, and it's nothing personal. So even if you are starting your business off and you're watching this video, there's a reason why you're watching this video, because if you figure this out from the beginning, you will actually save yourself a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. You'll actually save yourself, even maybe even save someone else, because you don't become that crutch to them, but that is definitely something that recently I had been studying on for, I'd say, for the past week now. And that's why I say very recently about boundaries, because people don't know anymore how to either set boundaries, or they don't even know how to, not cross over boundaries sometimes, so that is like so important. And I don't believe that's selfish. That, I mean, I guess according to the definition it is, but it's actually just using wisdom, to be honest.
Well, that's exactly what it is, but that's why we went over the definition. Because
Yep.
when somebody calls you selfish, and selfish means lacking consideration for others, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. One, you're using it out of context, because this is clearly the definition. When you take time for yourself for the sake of many, or the sake of your sanity, the sake of being able to provide for those that depend on you the most, that's not selfish. That is actually
Exactly.
selfless.
Yeah.
But when you take that time to get that massage, to make sure you take that hour to take a nice long bath and read and relax and reset mentally,
Yeah, definitely.
that from
Man, that
oneself.
yeah, man, and that's, yeah, that's what it is. That, like you said, there has to be a balance. And tell you the truth, only people that's looking to take advantage of you would see it as something. Oh, she's selfish, or even just narcissistic type people. But people, whenever you decide, you know what, I'm going to create these boundaries, and this is what my boundaries are, and I'm going to stand firm and stick to these things, only people that are really looking, I guess, to take advantage of something would not understand that, because the more and more I think about it, the more and more, I'm even self-reflecting. I was like, you know what, who could be mad at the fact that you decided, these things, I decide what's important, what I'm going to use as far as importance, and I'm going to basically put them on levels that I'm going to handle them accordingly. I'm going to decide, what's more important, and go along with that. Not saying that you forget about anyone else. You just know where to put it at on the platform to be able to handle it in whichever way you need to handle it.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you talk about narcissistic people, because I didn't realize how many narcissistic individuals I had in my life until I started doing my own thing. Then you're like, you change. You don't come around. You don't do this for nobody no more. I'm like, at the end of the day, like, we're all grown here. There are some things that I used to help you out with that you should be able to do yourself, but you became dependent on me. And that should have never happened. But I didn't know how not to allow that to happen, because I didn't understand that that was a misuse or abuse of myself. I understand that now, and I put a kibosh to some things now, and I have strong boundaries now that are getting stronger because, like, my coaches, I love my coaches, Dr. Jerry Bobo, Winter Bobo, because at the end of the day, like, they're no nonsense. They get straight to the point. They tell you what you need to do, how you need to do it, why you need to do it, and then you just follow suit or go on your merry way and don't do it. It's up to you. And that's very point blank and clear. So when you have that influence to remind you, like, if you don't spend your time wisely, it will come back in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You begin to take your mental health, your time spent with people that aren't trying to build, that aren't trying to come together, who aren't trying to do better with their lives. You limit that time, if not eliminate that time. Because we're in a day and age now that we don't have time to waste time, right?
Nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Now, what? I guess, Brandy, if someone was on here, like, how would you say, especially if you feel like you've become that type of person where you've been too selfless and people are taking advantage of you, how do you create those boundaries to say, you know what? Because I know, like, with me, whenever I started and to say no to someone when you've been saying yes for so long, to say no to someone, and I've been saying yes for so long, it was very, very difficult for me, and I had to slowly kind of peel myself back from it, and then things end up happening. Now it's cooled down, but where some people got their feelings hurt, because I'm like, you know what, it's nothing personal. You have to understand, this is a journey that I have to take at this time. This is the season that I'm in, so when you did have to tell those people that might have been narcissistic at that time, towards you, how did you begin to come? Like, was it just like cold turkey? You ripped yourself and you said, this is what it is? Or did you find yourself slowly pulling back?
It depended on the situation. I had to evaluate everybody in my life. And when you evaluate people from a realistic point of view, from a subjective point of view, you realize who is there just sucking life out of you, and who are taking advantage of you but don't realize it, right? So what you do is, those people that you've been around long enough to know that there's no way that you can there's no way that you can put it nicely to that individual that you need your time back and they need to start doing for self. It's important to go ahead and just rip the band-aid off. They're going to be mad one way or another anyway, so you might as well make them all the way mad and do what you know is right for the long-term point of view side of things. When you have real friends that depend on you but understand that, like, you have a life and you have goals and you have things that you want to accomplish, those are the friends that you let them know, okay, I've decided to go in this direction. You just kind of keep them abreast of the changes going on, and you invite them to join you on their own version of their journey, right? Some of them are going to join you. Some of them are going to cheer you on, and some of them are just going to kind of fall off, and that's perfectly fine. But this is where it comes to be important that you understand that some of the people that you're used to being around, they're not going to be there anymore. And it's not good, it's not bad, it just is what it is, especially when you get serious about doing better for yourself, doing better for your family, seeing that certain things that you're doing right now aren't conducive to a fulfilling future, right? So, welcome back. Some of the things
Yes.
that you're doing, if you don't stop doing them now and start learning different skills, plugging into resources, different tools, finding yourself a mentor, finding influencers to follow, plugging in to certain ministers and things. Like, I'm not big on church, but I am big on God. But these are the things that are going to help push you in the right direction. And you're either going to have cheerleaders, you're going to have people that join you on their own version of their journey, and you're going to have people that just fall away by the wayside. You got to be okay with just letting them be where they're at. Because at the end of the day, when you achieve the things that you're supposed to achieve, those people are likely going to be right there where you left them. And you can then give them a chance. Hey, you want to learn what I've learned over the years, or are you happy where you at? But don't stop your journey because they can't see a better future for themselves, and therefore think you shouldn't have a better future either.
Yeah, that's why it's important to put those boundaries up and to put them up early. So if you definitely, especially you're starting off your journey, definitely learn how to put up boundaries early, because I'm learning that more and more, and still might have a few that I have to remind about the boundaries. But it's very, very important, and I don't believe it's a selfish thing, and they might see it that way, but that's because they've even started using you as a crutch. And it's time that we put on our big girl pants and big boy pants and begin to walk this journey in whatever it is, and discovering your gift, and then walking your gift, and living your life, your real life.
Absolutely. And that's extremely important. So
Definitely.
before we jump off of here and wrap up, Sister Queen, would you like to let folks know how to get a hold of you and how to make it over to your YouTube channel?
Definitely. To get a hold of me, you can email me if it's not through Facebook, which is facebook.com, One Beautiful Queen. Then also you can email me at shamekawillmotivate@gmail.com. And then last but not least, my motivational purpose channel, which is the YouTube channel. Please go and subscribe. You can find that by typing in www.shamekawillis.com, SHAMEKA WILLIS.com, and it will take you directly to the YouTube channel.
Lovely.
Yes, ma'am.
Facebook to reach her, facebook.com/One Beautiful Queen. That's where you can message her directly. And then, of course, we have ShamekaWillis.com.
Yes, ma'am. That's for the YouTube channel.
And that'll take you directly to YouTube.
Yeah.
There you guys go. Now, we have also become very serious about correcting our credit, learning more about our finances, adding money back to our household, as well as learning how to invest on a better level. And we have a company that we're working with. We are business partners as well as sister queens. And we would like to invite y'all to get some information about that same company that we are a part of. So if you would love to be our guest on a webinar, get some information, find out what we're working with, find out if it's a good fit for you, just drop a 1 in the comments and we will gladly send you a link to invite you to the next webinar. In the meantime, feel free to join us in the Facebook group For the Love of Queens. Sister Queen is a member of the group, and I'm not sure if I'm a member of Queens in Action, but I'm going to make sure I am because
She is. Both Brandy Johnson page. You are.
All right. I had to make sure. Like, I got to make sure I'm linked up with all my Sister Queens properly.
Definitely.
Of course, before we jump off of here, we'd like to thank you for joining us. God bless, and we will definitely be catching y'all again very soon. So thank you again for joining us. Shameka, thank you so much for joining me on Woke Wednesday Live, and
Definitely.
to have you again very soon. And
Yes.
stay focused, stay blessed, and keep up the amazing work, because since we started working together, you have come a long way very quickly, ma'am.
Thank you. Definitely.
All right, y'all. Catch y'all next time, and we are out. Peace.
Bye.